Hey everybody, welcome to some more content on my YouTube channel. We're doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be joining a Khans of Tarkir flashback draft. So Khans of Tarkir is widely considered one of the kind of premier formats of the last number of years, and a format that I drafted a lot when it was in season, and a format that I like a lot. There's a lot of kind of interesting decks that you can go with, and the presence of Morph as a mechanic lets you kind of do some pretty wild things and play some pretty powerful cards, and I'm excited to try to do that today. I've drafted this once since it came back on Flashback and had a nice little 5-color deck that we lost in the finals with. There's not only 5-color decks, there's a lot of options in terms of how you can play, but we definitely want to kind of maximize our ability to do something powerful if we can. Sorry, I gotta change these settings a little bit, make this a little bigger and easier to see. Here we go. So right off the bat, we open one of the more powerful rares in the set in High Sentinels of Arashin. It's a 3/4 flyer for 4 that gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it, and has the ability for 4 mana to put a counter on a creature, so it makes itself big while also making your own creatures big. Other kind of interesting cards that we like, Temur Charm is powerful, Land is always good, Savage Punch is very good, Singing Bell Strike is fine, Scout the Borders is good if you're in a Delve deck. So lots of kind of options, but High Sentinels is a premium rare, and we're excited to take it here. Alright, looking at our second pick. Now that we've taken a white card, the colors that kind of pair with white are going to be Abzan, which will be green and black, which fits with the +1/+1 counter theme. Blue and red for Jeskai, fits with kind of an aggressive kind of flyers or different kind of theme. So those are kind of the two color pairs that we're most interested in. Looking at this pack, there's nothing quite as exciting. I see Smite the Monstrous, which is a good card against some decks, not necessarily main deckable. Longshot Squad, which would pick up with our High Sentinels. Take Up Arms, which would go well in a Jeskai deck, which is what I'm looking at right now. The other option would be taking Sage-Eye Harrier, which is a morph if we want to stay on color. Mystic, it's a good card. I don't love the rare, and don't love Dragon Guard. I'm going to take Up Arms here. I don't know that that's correct, but that's what I'm going to end up on at the moment. Okay, looking at this next pack, we have a land, which is good. Burn Away, which is an excellent removal spell in this format. Deals 6 damage to a creature, which kills basically everything. Also exiles controller's graveyard, or the opponent's graveyard, if you kill one of their creatures, which ends up being pretty insane against the Sultai decks. Ice Feather Aven is a good one. Abzan Guide is a good one. Again, another Longshot Squad, Land would be good. These two are both fine. I'm going to take the Burn Away here, and we're looking maybe to get into some sort of red-white or possibly a Jeskai deck, so we'll see where that takes us. Okay, so a number of interesting options here. Jeskai Charm, which is very powerful, has 3 modes, all of them good. Defiant Strike, a free Weapon Master, which is the premier morph for Jeskai. Feat of Resistance, which is a very good trick. We are getting a little bit aggressive if we take Jeskai Charm here in terms of going into kind of committing to a second and third color. Feat of Resistance is a good trick that kind of fits with our High Sentinels of Arashin. But I certainly really like Jeskai Charm. I also like Weapon Master. I'm going to take the Feat here. I think it's a really premium trick, and so that's what we're going to take. But I could see being convinced that something like Jeskai Charm or Weapon Master is a more powerful card. Alright, looking at this pack, we see another good Jeskai uncommon going around in Warden of the Eye, which lets us return a non-creature, non-land card from our graveyard to our hand, or lets us rebuy a trick or a removal spell. Bring Low, which is a good removal spell in this format. So those are the two cards that we're looking at picking from. None of the other cards are particularly interesting. Singing Bellstrike again is okay. Valley Dasher is not really where I'm looking to be. Deciding whether I want to get into a third color for a powerful card like Warden, or just take the Bring Low. I think I'm just going to take the Bring Low here and stick with our red-white deck for now. Okay, looking at this next pack, I don't see anything kind of wild and exciting for us. The Mardu Blazebringer is not particularly good as a 4/4 that can only attack once. Active Treason is okay if you're playing a prowess deck or an aggressive deck. It's fine. Canyon Lurkers is a card that's certainly playable as a morph and then can get in for a big chunk of damage. Jeskai Banner is okay. Defiant Strike is okay. I'm going to take the Canyon Lurkers here as a good morph, and we'll kind of put it in our 3-drop slot, or have it kind of to the side as a 3-drop. Yeah, at this point we are. I've not been given a ton of good options. I'm kind of looking at Trumpet Blaster or Valley Dasher. We do have Take Up Arms, which creates 1/1 white soldier tokens that can work nicely with the Trumpet Blast. We also have a Valley Dasher to give us a 2-drop if we're going to be kind of in an aggressive deck. I think I'm going to take the Valley Dasher here. Okay, interesting. Now we've got a couple of interesting options, but one that we are going to take. Chief of the Scale is really good in the Warrior deck, which white-black can be. Mardu Warshrieker is a good 4-drop that often lets you play a morph or a different 3-drop if you are able to attack. But Mardu Horde Chief is one of the premier white commons. It's a 2/3 for 3 that also, if you attacked, will create a 1/1 white warrior, so we're going to take that. And looking at this pack, nothing exciting about it. I'm not interested in Siegecraft, not interested in Singing Bellstrike here. Swift Kick, while looks like a fine card, gives you +1/+0 and lets you fight. It's 4 mana, instant speed, though red creatures didn't end up being very big, and it ended up not being a great card in the format. I'm going to take the War Behemoth here. Alright, coming back around, we see that Mindswipe did lap. It's kind of an interesting card. I don't think it's particularly good. I don't like Quiet Contemplation either. Sage Eye Harry is a replaceable morph. I'm going to take the Valley Dasher here if we're looking to be Mardu Horde Chiefing people. We'll also be interested in Valley Dashing them. Looking at this pack, we're not interested in a sideboard erase. We'll take this Tormenting Voice. It's definitely main deckable and can help us kind of get through extra lands if we draw too many. This is generally an 18 land format. If we're playing an aggressive red-white deck, then we may not play 18 lands. I don't know that we're going to be playing this Blazebringer. It's not impossible, though. I'm going to keep it to the side and think about it. And just waiting for people to make their last couple of picks before we get to look at pack number 2. Okay, so we have some very interesting options here. We have the option of taking Abzan Battle Priest, which is an excellent 4-drop. It's got Outlast for a single white mana, and all creatures with counters on +1/+1 counters on them get lifelink. That's very powerful. Ratkasha Death Dealer is a good rare, but not in the colors we are. Chief of the Edge is really interesting because if we want to delve into a bit of black, it gives our warriors +1/+0. We don't have a ton of warriors at this point. Our Horde Chief is a warrior. These are warriors, but we could start trying to pick them up. We have a 3-color land here, which is very good. Bring Low, which is good. Kill Shot, which is good. Tranquil Cove, which is potentially good. I'm going to take the Battle Priest here, sticking with just 2 colors, and hoping that we can keep picking up some creatures that interact with this +1/+1 counter theme. Okay, so we've opened a rare that I think is good enough to want to play a third color for in Butcher of the Horde. It's enough better than something like Warname Aspirant, which is very good as a potential 3-2 for 2, another Bring Low, a Defiant Strike, which is just okay, a Firehoof Cavalry, which is not good, a Trumpet Blast, which is okay. Butcher of the Horde is excellent. It's a card that we actively would be willing to play a third color for. Now we're looking to pick up some dual lands to go with our Butcher. Butcher is a 5/4 flyer for 4 mana that you can sacrifice creatures to give it lifelink, vigilance, or haste, and we already have some token possibilities, so Butcher is our pick here. Alright, looking at this pack, we've opened a couple of good ones. Abzan Falconer is a pretty busted uncommon. Again, it has Outlast as a 2/3 for 3, and creatures with counter +1/+1 counters have flying. So we already have a few things that give counters, and giving our creatures flying is incredibly powerful. Skull Hunter is kind of a good one. If you can raid and just battlefield tap, it makes them discard a card, which is powerful. Mardu Hateblade is actually pretty fine in this format, and then we can see a dual land that doesn't line up with what we're doing so far. So we'll take the Falconer here. Okay, looking at this pack, we have a couple of options that we're interested in. Take Up Arms to give us more tokens is a possibility. I don't like the Swiftwing very much. It is a creature that lets you start getting in for raid really easily. I don't love Disowned Ancestor, although it does fit with our +1/+1 counter theme. We're not in black very significantly yet, so we don't really want to be messing around with 1-drops in black. I think I'm going to take Rush of Battle here, which gives our creatures +2/+1, and warriors get lifelink. We don't have a ton of warriors yet, but we do have a few, and just the +2/+1 can be a way for us to win the game. Abzan Charm, it's another powerful one, but again, we're not in green. Okay, so we've got a couple of good options again here. Timely Hordemate is pretty cool. It's a raid, 4 mana, 3/2, enters the battlefield. You can return a CMC 2 or less creature to the battlefield. You know, we only have a couple of those so far, but we could work on trying to pick up more. Alabaster Current is just a totally reasonable 2 mana or 4 mana 2/3 with Flying and Vigilance. And then Rakasha's Secret is just not for us. Summit Prowler is medium. I'm going to take the Hordemate here, although I could see taking the Karen. I think they're close on power level. We'll prioritize trying to pick up a couple more 2-drops here. I could see this being Alabaster Karen rather than Timely Hordemate. Alright, looking at this next pack, we see a Jeskai Student, a Mardu Hateblade, a Mardu War Shrieker, and a Valley Dasher. I'm going to take the Jeskai Student here. We don't have a ton of tricks, but we do a few. A 1/3 blocker helps us protect against the morphs, and you can often attack in for free if you have against other morphs, because you might have an instant speed trick that will eat their morph and gives you a chance to activate raid really easily. Alright, looking at this pack, not a ton here for us. We are just barely in black, so it's not amazing to take something like Rite of the Serpent. But it is probably the card I'm going to take right now. Keep it in the sideboard, or if we end up picking up some dual lands, we may be able to play it. It's a fine removal spell for 6 mana that also potentially gives you a little extra value. And we don't like Swift Kick, and we already have some replaceable morphs, so I'm going to put that in the sideboard for now. Okay, taking a look at this next pack, we have a couple of different options. Barrage of Boulders deals 1 damage to creatures you don't control, and if you have a creature with 4 power or greater, creatures can't block, so it's a good falter effect. Another Disowned Ancestor, or a Bondkin, which is fine, but again, we're not very black yet. Salt Road Patrol is likely what we're going to take here, as it has Outlast, so it lets us kind of work with our +1/+1 counters sub-theme. We did get Chief of the Edge back, which is really interesting, and makes me want to take it. Again, we don't have too many warriors, but we do have a few. I think it's probably more powerful than Killshot in a deck that we're probably looking to do a lot of attacking with. So I'm going to take Chief of the Edge here and see if we can pick up any dual lands in pack 3. I'm going to take the Trumpet Blast here. Not for sure that we're going to play it. We already do have one Mass Pump effect. I don't like the Cavalry. I do not think it's a good card. And Defiant Strike is very replaceable. So we'll take a Trumpet Blast here, but again, it may not end up in our deck. And we'll take the Hate Blade here. Again, it may not end up in our deck, but it does work with the Timely Horde Mate and gives us a way to turn on Raid. It is a warrior for our warriors. Sidisi's Pet's a possible card that we could end up playing. No guarantees there. I don't know if I want 2 Hate Blades, but we'll put them in the deck for now. We do have a playable deck after 2 packs. Unfortunately, we don't have any dual lands, which makes our splashes a little harder, but we are kind of fortunate that we have enough playables that we can prioritize taking some of these dual lands in pack 3 if we see any that could make our mana a little bit easier. Okay, taking a look at this third pack, we've got a couple of pretty interesting options. Dig Through Time is a really powerful card, obviously. It was banned in Modern, banned in Legacy, restricted in Vintage. It's a pretty messed up Magic card. What we do see though is Mardu Charm, which creates warriors, can make people discard a duress and a removal spell, so very powerful card. Another Feat of Resistance, which is good, and a dual land. This is a really tough pick. I think the slightly more greedy player or drafter wants to take the Mardu Charm. I think the disciplined player takes a Scoured Barrens here. I'm going to take the Scoured Barrens. I really want this Mardu Charm. I think there's a non-zero chance that it comes back. Maybe like 5% of the time it comes back if people just aren't in Mardu. So I'm going to take the Scoured Barrens here because we do desperately need a dual land if we're going to dual lands if we want to play some of these cards, and we do. Alright, so we again have a couple of cards to look at here. We have another Scoured Barrens, which would be a really good pick, or is a really good pick. We have Warname Aspirant, which would be a good 2-drop for us to add to our list. Watcher of the Roost, which is a good morph that becomes a flyer and gains you a couple of life. Canyon Lurkers, which we already have a couple of, and we are interested in probably cutting at least one of them. And Bitter Revelation, which is a good draw spell. I'm going to take the dual land. I think that Warname Aspirant is worse than Mardu Charm, and if we were willing to take Scoured Barrens over Mardu Charm, we're willing to take it over Warname Aspirant. Alright, taking a look at pick number 3. We see there's a Monastery Swift Spear here. A Bring Low is another removal spell. Dragon Grip, which is okay in some decks. It's probably not good in our deck. The land here is not powerful enough for us to take. I think we're just taking a Bring Low. I like the Swift Spear, but it doesn't really fit with our theme, and we don't have that many tricks to take advantage of it. It's often just going to be attacking for 1. We'll take Bring Low. And another pack here, we see another Timely Horde Mate, which we now have 6 targets for it, which is considerably better. So it's something we definitely will consider taking. Another Salt Road Patrol, which would be good, and nothing else that we care about. I'm going to take the Timely Horde Mate here. It is better now that we've got so many. Because we might cut these Valley Dashers. We may not be a Valley Dasher deck anymore, which ultimately I'm actually happy about. I don't really want to be a Valley Dasher deck. Okay, looks like we've picked up a couple of pretty good options. We've got Seeker of the Way here, which is a really, really powerful card. Obviously, it saw a lot of play in Standard. It sees a lot of play in Pauper, or sees some play in Pauper, and it's going to be really powerful for us here. Flying Crane Technique is an incredibly powerful card, but not in our colors. And we don't need any of these other cards, so we're going to be really happy to pick up a Seeker of the Way, and that's going to let us definitely cut these Valley Dashers. Okay, we have a couple of good options again. Another Chief, which I'm going to take. getting 2 chiefs is definitely a sign. Now that we've got 2 scoured barons, that gives us a pretty good mana base, or a much better mana base to be able to splash. Horde Ambusher is good. Active Treason is potentially okay. So we'll take this Chief of the Scale here. Another Burn Away. Burn Away again is a very powerful card, so we will take it. Throttle is also good, but not nearly as good as Burn Away. Assault Road Patrol, we've already got one, and we may not even be playing the first one, so let's take this Burn Away here. Okay, a couple of interesting options here. We have what could be our third dual land, which we want and need, and we also have Zergo Helm Smasher. This is a 7/2 that has to attack every combat. It has haste. It's indestructible as long as it's our turn, and if it kills anything that blocks it, it gets bigger. It is a very good magic card. It's a card that's good enough that I am going to take it over this Bloodfell Caves, even though I really want the caves. I'm going to take this Helm Smasher here. And we did pick up the Mardu Charm. It came back. Once we saw the Zergo Helm Smasher, I thought it was pretty likely that we were getting the Mardu Charm back, or much more likely. So we will take it here. Deciding whether to take Watcher the Roost here or Smite the Monstrous for the sideboard. I think I'm going to take the Watcher. I think it has a pretty good chance of making our main deck, and as a flyer is pretty reasonable. We'll take this Barrage of Boulders for the sideboard. Unlikely that we'll end up playing it. Take this Unyielding Grumar. It is a warrior, but we're trying not to be too deep into black, so I'm unlikely to put it in my deck. And Abzan Banner, Lands of Clarity, and a Forest. Okay, so our deck has really kind of come together in an interesting way, where we started out looking like we were red-white with a potential light-black splash. I now feel like we're going to be cutting a bunch of our red cards, looking to be more of a white-black Warriors deck with a lighter red splash. So I'm definitely cutting these Valley Dashers. I think we are a 17 land deck here. We don't really have things that are too expensive to cast. If we look at our morphs, they're all, like, we don't have any 6-drops. I don't think we're playing this Tormenting Voice. I don't think we're playing Trumpet Blast. I think we've already got our Rush of Battle, so we'll cut this Trumpet Blast. Cut one of the Bring Lows. Probably cut these Canyon Lurkers. And we have some very, very good 4-drops, so we have to cut some of them. This is the worst of them. And this puts us at 23 cards. Gives us 2 Hate Blades, which are warriors. We've got the Chiefs to go with the Hate Blades to make them a little bigger, a little more resilient. Seeker is a warrior. Jeskai Student, unfortunately, isn't. Falconer isn't, but it doesn't matter. This is a warrior. It's a soldier, but it's a flyer, so it's fine. War Behemoth is just a morph, but is good. Battle Priest is a cleric, but again fits with our +1/+1 counters. High Sentinels is just kind of bonkers. Rush is good. Timely Horde Mate's going to help us get back these Hate Blades that we trade for creatures early and then come back on the battlefield. Bring Low is going to be a good removal spell for us. Butcher and Zergo are excellent. And then we've got the Burnaways and the Take Up Arms at the top end. Looking at our mana requirements, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red symbols. I'm going to be playing 4 mountains for that. We have the 2 Scoured Barons, which makes a huge difference in terms of our land requirements. So if we look at, we are base white. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black symbols. So we can go 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 4. So we can actually go this way. This gives us 9 white. White is our main color. It gives us 5 black sources. We do want black on 2. I'm going to think about this for a second. We also want black for the hate blade, so I'm going to stick with this. We need the white. White's our most important color. It casts almost all of our spells. The black, I like having a 6th source because we do have the hate blades that we want to activate, and we want to activate them early. We want to play the chiefs early if possible. But the Mardu Charm can be played late. The Butcher doesn't have to be played on turn 4 to be good, and Zergo doesn't have to be played on turn 5 to be good. So the red, and same with Bring Low and Burn Away, our red spells can be played later, and it's okay. So I think it's fine for us to be waiting to find our mountain, or our mountain can be a little harder to find. We do want to find a swamp a little bit sooner, and plains obviously is really important to us. So this is the deck we're looking at right here. I think this deck has the potential to be really powerful, and we'll see how it turns out when we play our first round. Thanks for watching this draft portion, and I look forward to playing the first round with you.